And I'm in the group where you met me once
Yeah.
at the store, and I was just telling my brother about it. We was playing. I can't remember what it was playing. It was something video game music related, and then like, oh, there we go. That's how friendships work. You know, we just
Yep.
play video games and talk about music and stuff, and 20 years later, we're still talking about it.
Yeah, I think I remember you actually like quizzing. I was like, "What song is this?" And we had like a quiz type of thing going on. You're like, "All right, take a guess," and then we like went back and forth.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what it was.
All right, so just state your name, something about you, could be anything, where you work, a hobby, whatever, and then the name of one of your stuffed animals as a kid, if you had one.
Oh man, stuffed animals as a kid. I
And if you
don't
can't
know
think
the
of
name
anything,
of.
that's
Well,
fine.
before we go through all that, I have a story about it, but let's see. First of all, I'm Sheem. Sheem. I work at the one of the best, if I say so myself, one of the best coffee shops in LICS, Sweetleaf. I'm a barista there. I'm always there. That's my second home. What do I do outside of like making coffee videos? I play a lot of video games. I play video games. I stream. I stream at Twitch, Yoshimitsu's Wave. I collect shoes, tattoos for some odd reason, and T-shirts. As today, I'm wearing a Fresh Prince of All Saiyans T-shirt, which is with Vegeta on the front of it, because I love T-shirts. Absolutely love T-shirts. Every day I'm at work, new T-shirt, new music. Uh, Same me. I'm not growing anytime soon or changing anytime soon, but you get me. Um, so my story about a stuffed animal I used to have. I remember I didn't grow up in the States, so when I was younger, we had a little. It was like a little groundhog
Well, where
that we
was this,
got on
first
at
of all?
school for Groundhog's Day. It was in Germany.
Okay.
Germany.
Okay.
I grew up, went to elementary school and kindergarten and like I think elementary school in Germany before we moved to the States. And I remember having this little groundhog. And I don't remember the name of it, but it was something I had all the way up until like 7 years old, I want to say. And then when we moved to the States, I had no longer had it, but I still remember uh, when I was younger being super excited about Groundhog's Day because I had a little groundhog that carried around with me for the longest. And
um,
we said this is how we're starting off, right?
yeah, no, that's perfect. Yeah, so you already mentioned about the t-shirt thing. I was going to say your Instagram says, and I quote, "I wear dope t-shirts." Do you have a favorite t-shirt?
Ooh, do I have a favorite T-shirt? Um, there was one I still wear. I think one of my favorite ones I bought. The shirt's about 8 years old now. Actually, now I think about it, I got it at Dragon Con, which is Comic Con, but in Atlanta. They usually have like the week, but like they have Dragon Con, Anime Week in Atlanta, and sometime in between they have like Pride Weekend. The one I went to had Pride Weekend and Dragon Con going on at the same time. Dragon Con's usually at the end of that month, like around end of August. I think last year was the end of September because our Anime Week in Atlanta at Dragon Con was around the same time. But whatever. Um, I got it at Dragon Con, and it's a shirt that says "Combustible Lemons" on it. Um, Cave Johnson approved. It's a Portal 2 reference from a really big rant that Cave Johnson went on about combustible lemons that'll burn people's houses down because of science. Um, it's kind of faded-ish, but that is probably my favorite T-shirt of all time. Just a big logo that says combustible lemons on
That's awesome, in or out of context. Um,
it.
have you always like? Do you remember when you first started getting into t-shirts? And do you see them as like a self-expression thing, or you're like, oh, they're just cool, I just like them, or does it like say something about you?
um, I think of them as both. So I see them as expression, especially for me because I can talk about it. Like I like to do research around the stuff I buy first
Yeah.
before someone was like, "Oh, who's that on your shirt?" Um, the very first one of the I started early because I like little silly stuff like that, like t-shirts and all that. Some could be fun, it's a little bit offensive, and depends on the person, right? The very first one I got was when I started to was years ago. I was working at this grocery store. I really did not care for. It was one of the first jobs and stuff like that right out of
Yeah.
high school, and I had a shirt that said uh, don't ask me, I just work here. And I wore it to a meeting by accident. And I remember specifically, like, one of our managers was like, don't have the attitude that's on his shirt. Be, do customer service and all this stuff like that. And for me, I was like, all right, whatever. After that, another really cool one was, I had another one that said undercover police on it, just like in kind of blue and yellow.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were like, are you really undercover police? I was like, I'm 17 with a blue shirt on. Clearly not. I don't think a police officer will wear a shirt that says police officer on it.
Yeah,
even if they are undercover.
Especially if they're undercover. Yeah. Do you think part of the whole t-shirt thing for you is like a social thing as well? Like you want to have that, like if I wear a shirt with a movie I love on it, I actually think it's awesome if someone walks by it and it's like, oh, I love that movie. Those simple little interactions. Is that for you too, or?
Yes, absolutely. Especially since I work at a place that allows me to, at both my jobs actually, because I work at the coffee shop where I've had places where I worked at coffee shops where it's like you get to wear what you want, but you have to wear like an apron over it or something, so you couldn't really see like that. And another place where you had to wear like brand specific shirts, so like you couldn't really do it. Like, yeah, definitely, it's something to get either the conversation going or have that little interaction, right? Like say if I did wear this one to work today, it's like at least everyone at this point knows what Dragon Ball Z is.
Yeah.
Or like the Fresh Prince logo on here, which like, oh man, that's kind of cool. You see like the Fresh Prince, that everyone's watched Fresh Prince. If not, it's on HBO Max now, which catch up on it. Show's been out for 25 years now. And then but the collab with you get the whole thing here, and now we have a whole different like, interaction and stuff like that. Like anytime someone's come to the shop, it's like, oh, I like your shirts, and it's for either first time or anytime. So like, hey, come back. I have another shirt. We'll have another discussion about what either one of us is wearing next time.
Yeah. Those are Dragon Ball Z and Fresh Prince. Like for people are you in your 30s?
Just turned 32.
Yeah, I feel like for people in our sort of age group, those are two big shows.
Yes.
What's a chore you're most likely to put off doing?
Washing clothes.
Okay.
It's not even because I have a whole bunch of t-shirts or anything like that. Like I have no problem washing clothes. I have no problem sitting there watching them dry and everything like that. But oh my God, it's like one of those things. It's like when you move, right? You don't know how much you have until you move.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh man, now that I'm settled, I have to unpack everything. It's kind of like that with washing clothes. It's like, oh man, I didn't know how to have this amount of clothes to wash. And after sitting there, which is such a chore to wash and dry them, now I have to fold them up and put them away and organize them potentially to have some more closet space. It's like that's probably top one there. Like,
but do you do what I do where after the wash you just leave them out for a really long period of time before putting them away?
I still have a trash bag where it's still full of clean shirts and stuff like that, just sitting in my closet.
I do something similar. Okay, so this is a would you rather question. Some people have follow-up questions and some people just answer with their gut, whatever you feel comfortable with. Would you rather have the ability to fly, but only when holding your breath, or turn invisible for 4 hours whenever you choose once a month?
One of my coworkers does this all the time. We get like what if questions with this, right? Like I love these. I really do love these because it just thinking about like 4 hours out of a month is not a lot of time. That's barely that's like if there was like a part-time shift at any job, like I could just turn invisible for that. I would think because holding your breath, like even the longest you can hold your breath is maybe like what 1 or 2 minutes. I'm not getting that far off the ground if I'm holding my breath for 2 minutes, especially at a time. I would take the 4 hours of invisibility. Maybe 20 minutes on the train ride where like no one talks to me, or if I'm going to anyone that talks to you on the train, it just feels like it's invasion of privacy. So give me the invisibility for 10, 15 minutes out the day where where I can just go home peacefully. Like, give me the invisibility.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I asked someone and I looked it up, and the longest anyone's ever held their breath. I don't know the exact time. I don't remember, but it was like 22 minutes. I was like, what the fuck? 22 minutes?
I what was it? David Blaine was doing that, right? I think it was on a TV show years ago
Hmm.
where he was like had this big event where he was going to be put in water and tried to hold his breath underwater for I think like 6 or 7 minutes. And then, but like the health risk for that is like, yeah, your lungs collapse after like 5 or 6 minutes or so. Like
Yeah.
that's
That's a
I
lot of
know,
training.
like even 20 minutes, right? Like so, I have to do all the training just to fly maybe like what 5 10 minutes off the ground. I'm good on that.
Okay. All right. If I handed you $2,000 right now and you had to spend it on yourself and you had to spend it today, what do you think you'd get?
Ooh, I would probably I'd probably get a new tattoo done, something really 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 big,
That's a
and
good one.
that's something really big and flashy.
Okay.
That's probably the easiest answer I can give you right now.
Is there one that pops in your head that you'd actually get, or just kind of a vague idea of having it?
I've been wanting to get something from a mutual friend of ours, Dan, actually, Dan
Mhm,
Santoro.
mhm,
I
mhm.
had an appointment with him last month, but I had to cancel because I didn't know how I was supposed to, how I could get out there
Yeah.
without like renting a car and stuff. And you know what this whole thing going on, with this whole thing going on, hours got cut and things like that. Whatever, whatever. Um, I know it's important, but it's not important to this story here.
Right, right, right.
To the question here. To that, yeah, I would absolutely go up to Dan and be like, "Here, what can I do with this?" And because I used to work 2 blocks the street from him at Milk Bar
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
on Smith Street, which explains why I got my whole arm done from them. But I never got anything done by Dan, and I really wanted to get something done from him. So 100%, I would just make my way up to Pennsylvania. I think that's where he is now,
Yep.
and
Mhm.
just ask Dan like, "Hey, you got some time today? Let's do it. Whatever you want."
Yeah, I love his shit so much. He's fucking awesome.
It's He's so great.
Uh,
I really wish you would have stayed. I really wish you would have stayed here for selfish reasons,
right.
but that's selfish reasons.
Oh man, he's so good. So you said you do Twitch. Is it all video games when you Twitch? I don't know much about Twitch, so
Right now I'm just doing PlayStation stuff.
okay.
I've done some classic gaming before. Going back to PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2 games. I streamed even new games. Like last night I was streaming, not last night, but the night before I was streaming Cuphead, which isn't a new game, but it's kind of an older it's designed like a 1940s game, right?
Yeah.
It's if you're familiar with it, it's a two characters. Like one's named Cuphead, others like Mug Boy, I believe. They look like teacups, right?
Mhm.
And you fight these monsters in these kind of cinema type levels. But it's kind of like if Tom and Jerry, the designers of Tom and Jerry, created a Mega Man game. This is exactly what you would get
Yeah.
from the music, the animation, everything. It's really really good, but it's really frustrating because it's like an old school platformer, if you know what that is.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, Very unforgiving. Like you get 3 hits and the game's over unless you get power ups and stuff like that. Like when I streamed, I think it was Monday or Tuesday night, I can't remember, but I streamed the game for 2 hours plus, and passed one level. That's that's how
Damn.
difficult the game can get sometimes. But
Damn.
as of right now, yes, just mostly PlayStation 4 games until I get the setup I want to start playing older games like PlayStation 2, 1,
Yeah.
or classic Xbox games like Jet Set Radio and stuff like that.
Oh, I remember that game well. When you do this, like, are you talking a lot? Are you like, oh, you giving tips and stuff, or what's your like style?
I can do both. Like I love doing commentary stuff. I love when I first got into gaming. One of my favorite things was to watch fighting games and commentate on video games because on fighting games because I kind of know what's going on. I
Yeah.
can give you like little information, little tidbits and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or Last time I did it, I didn't know my mic was muted, but I do have a camera and a mic and things like that to use. And I'll give, tidbits, or give like how frustrated I am, how this and this and this is going on.
Have you ever had a freak out on Twitch?
No, but I haven't. But I've there's been a times on stream where I just go like, kind of like where you just got like trying to stress relieve your headache and stuff like
Yeah.
that, because you get all the way to the end, and it's just and you die,
Yep.
and there's no.
Hey, it sounds like
You
life.
remember in old. So like how in how in old games, right, where like there was no safe spots. It was just like you have to go through the level. If you beat the level, sure, then you save it.
Yep.
Other than that, you have to do the whole thing over. So that's how Cuphead is, right? And some of the levels, right, you can see they have a progress bar, and Cuphead in a little silhouette will run all the way up to, hey, this is where you are. This is how close you are. And sometimes I've gotten all the way up to like 90% of the level and then died. And then I'll just go, now I have to do this all over again
Yep.
as I struggled to get here the first time. And there's been times where I just go, it's like it's nothing more defeating than seeing the end of the level and then dying right
Do you
there.
remember
Right?
Battle Arena to Shinden?
Yes.
I think it was 2. I can't remember which one it was, but you had to beat the game without dying once to unlock a character. I think his name was Vern. He had guns. And I remember being at my friend's house and talking this guy. I unlocked him at my house, but it didn't save. And it was like so hard for me. So I brought it to my friend's house, and I remember I had my friend, a couple other buddies, and his older brother watching me play the whole thing through, doing so well. The last level, I fucking died. I got so pissed that I just threw a fist at the couch, at his mom's couch, but I missed the cushion. I hit the under part, and I literally broke my hand. I have a lot of freakouts when I used to play games a lot. So
No, so like that's the I get, so like gamer rage I get sometimes, right?
Yeah.
It's especially for someone that is competitive at games, right?
Yeah.
Like what I do, like there's like for one, when you get like your folks together, or even when you do stuff live on Twitch, right? You're good enough at the game, or you're entertaining enough at the game where you can put on a little bit of a show, right?
Yeah.
Or you can show people how you do this and things like that, right?
Right.
And then there are other times where you set the standard so high that if you like even just a little thing would just make you very, very upset at just little shit in the game, where it's like, oh man, I've been doing it, I do this all the time, and now one time I can't get it right, and everything just fucks up at the end.
Yep.
That's how it is sometimes.
Yep.
And there's in video games, it's luck. Like there's no, sometimes there's skill to it, but other times it's just like RNG luck, or the other team for it has better just composition overall and just blows you over. And it's like, why am I even playing this? I'll just go, do something else with my time being, since I'm clearly not good at this.
Yeah, I've had some very epic freakouts when it comes to video games. I have some major issues because all the anger that's inside comes out when I lose at a game. If like something in my life is upsetting me and I lose at a game, this has happened recently, but it's bad.
No, so like I get it. Sometimes for me, for example, like my therapy sometimes after work is like, hey, I want to shoot some folks in the face on Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Or maybe I'll just bust out whatever it is on whatever online game I'm playing at that time. And when you can't do good at video games after having a rough day, it's just like extremely frustrating.
Yeah.
Why am I even doing this? And then you just turn the game off and go back to the like 2 hours later. That's what I do. Go back at it 2 hours later.
Yeah. That's funny you say it, because you're right. It's like I just want to be good at this one little thing, and then that goes wrong, and it sets you up.
Let me have just this. Let me have this. All right.
Yeah.
The other 12 hours of my day, or X amount of time I was outside, whatever. I can't change that. I can at least be good at video games, right?
Yeah. Well, let's quickly let's go back to your childhood. What's a game that, I'm sure there's a lot, because for me there's a lot, but just what pops in your mind, a game you emotionally connected with early on?
We'll go back to Jet Set Radio. Like
Okay.
it just feels like you at the time, right? You know, when games like Tony Hawk, and then you had BMX, you had the SSX, like all the sporting games at the time
Yeah.
were like kind of revolutionary as a kid, right? Because like when you played Tony Hawk, oop, my bad. When you played Tony Hawk, you could go out there and feel like I can skateboard and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Or when you play like NFL Blitz or NBA Street or something like that. That game, it's an extreme take on the sport, but however, you kind of felt like you could do that stuff, right? Jet Set Radio Future kind of felt like that for me, right? Because it's like, oh, like I used to love this game when I was younger, and for someone like a like 11, 12 year old to be like to play a skating game where you kind of take on the government with the futuristic art style and the music to go with it and the characters that was really different from most like normal games. Like there's been like Final Fantasy is like it feels like an anime sometimes,
Mm.
but this felt like a cartoon that I could see like if there was a character design for me that I can see myself as, it would definitely be like a Jet Set Radio type of character. And two, I was like, I love like the art with it, and the most of the story was behind putting graffiti all over Japan and the
Yeah.
government hating it. And that
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
as someone that is as doesn't I don't have a problem with authority. However, I like to challenge authority.
Mhm.
That was a really like the game still holds. It still holds right here. Like yeah, that was the first game I even thought about streaming when I could stream like classic games.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember that
Jet
being.
Set Radio, Jet Set Radio. I could and even now like I don't know if you came in like that right. No, the day before you actually came in, I was playing Jet. I played Jet Set Radio at my job.
That's
Like I'll
awesome.
just play the
Yeah.
soundtrack at my job.
Yeah, I remember that being one of the very few games I used to play as a kid that I was like, I feel cool playing this game. So many other games I did not feel cool
Exactly.
playing, but that was like one of the first was like, this feels awesome. Like,
Right. Like there's it's cool to have like, do like skating and stuff like that, but you're doing tricks, you're spraying graffiti, you're
yep.
blasting through cities. And then it was kind of one of the first ones that had like that made me feel like this is what Japan is like as a cartoon. Like this is what Japanese style is,
Right,
and
right.
graffiti and how they dress and things like that. And like you kind of wanted to be them, right? Like
Yep.
you wanted to be one of these characters growing up.
Yep. Awesome design for that game too. Damn, that artwork is just phenomenal. Um, what was
Oh
a
my god!
go-to snack when you were a kid?
Shouts to Sega. Gummy worms.
Gummy worms.
I was
Okay.
always a fan of. Yeah, and like even in Germany, right? They used to have. My brother can attest to this too. They used to have like this ice cream truck. They used to come around. They had this really large like I guess it was like a giant gummy worm or something like that, but I guess it was
Mhm.
like a more of like a gummy snake thing that they used to have. It was a giant gummy worm, I guess. I guess the like the most accurate way to describe that.
Yeah, yeah.
But ever since then, like even when I even so growing up military, we lived in Germany for a while, and
Mhm.
then we lived in Georgia. But my dad's folks were from New York, so I would always visit New York and stuff like that. Visit my grandma for summers and stuff like that. And anytime she asked me, and she didn't even ask me. Anytime she went to the store, she would just buy me gummy worms because she just knew that like I would eat that and some juice and stuff like that anytime. Like I haven't had them in a long time.
Mhm.
And in Germany, growing up, they had the Haribo ones. Any day of the week, I'll take those. Whole bag of those.
All right, so I
Gummy
have
bears, gummy worms. Yes, 100%.
all right, a few follow-up questions with the gummy worm thing. You said there was a big one. Like, how big are we talking?
I don't know. I had to be like maybe a foot or two long. It was really big.
Oh, were they
It
thick as
was it
well?
was a lot of
This is a great
yeah. It
question.
was I can't remember how. It's not like the it's not big like the big 5 pound gummy bear that you've
Yeah,
seen before. It's not
right.
that big,
Okay,
but
okay,
like on a smaller scale, I want to say like maybe a foot or so.
okay. So, would
Like
you
if
ever?
there was like if you could put one like one pack of gummy worms together. It'll probably be like that.
Would you ever consider getting a tattoo of a gummy worm?
It would be a fun idea. Like
That'd be awesome. I love that.
I wouldn't know I wouldn't even know how to start with that.
Listen,
Like,
you go to Dan and be like, I need a gummy worm tattoo.
Like, which color would I do? I couldn't do all the colors, right? Because then I have like a rainbow snake on me, and then like,
right,
you know, what's
we'll talk about this. We'll figure it out.
Like I just have a rainbow snake on my arm right here. It's like, what is that? It's like a giant gummy worm. I got it when I was 5 years old.
My next follow-up gummy worm question is this: how willing would you be, okay, to get the biggest gummy worms we can find, like a bunch of them, and put them in backpacks and each hold one and run around screaming, we got worms, all around Times Square?
We got worms.
Yeah.
I would definitely do that. I would just probably like, you know, like Muscle Man and regular show, just hey, I got worms, and just swing it around.
I love the image of us swinging giant gummy worms around.
It's just like a big floppy like gummy worm, just like a rainbow gummy worm going around.
I love
like
it.
I could have the green and red one. You can have like the white and red one just like flying around and stuff
we would make
like,
some type of local news
right now. Just like I'm just thinking, right? Like just running just straight down Jackson in front of my job, right? And just like, hey, we have worms. Let's do it around like 2-3 o'clock when kids are coming outside.
Oh yeah,
so that,
of course.
Everybody else is outside, right?
Yeah.
Moms and dads are outside. Kids are looking confused. All this stuff.
What are these guys?
That's got open doors. Like what? Like you just hear worms.
And you know we have to have shirts that says we got worms on them. Well, look, I could talk about gummy worms for another hour, but let's move on here.
Let's go.
Can you think of a bad piece of advice you heard in your life? And if you can't, that's fine. We'll pass it.
I don't necessarily, but I am also the one that will tell you, hey, go do it. It could be like, you know, something life-changing or something small, like, hey, I want to go get ramen. Go get the ramen. Or like, hey, I want to get my haircut. Do it.
Everything is just
do it or not. Because like you're either gonna debate about it all day and then ask other people for the same thing, especially if you're on the fence about it, or you can just do it and get it over with.
Okay, this is potentially the last time I ask this particular question because so far everyone's had the same answer. So you're the last hope of this question.
Okay.
Was there a show you watched as a kid that you didn't actually enjoy, but you just watched because it was on consistently?
That is a really good question. You know what? Like, there's a lot of shows that are just on, right? Like before, you know, cable TV, there was like 3 specific channels you could watch, and that was it. But like once you got digital cable, everything is on all the time. I want to say like Law and Order, right?
Okay.
Law and Order is a really good example of a show that you can just kind of watch in the background. How many seasons of SVU like Law and Order there is? I know there's like 5 seasons of SVU. There's like how many versions of it? I have no idea how many versions of it.
Shockingly, but I've never seen a full episode.
I can sit there and watch it. I wouldn't necessarily. I know like maybe 1 or 2 that I was invested in, but I don't. If you were to tell me like, hey, this person was on like Law and Order, I was like, which one? Because there's like 5 different versions. They're all still running to this day, and I don't necessarily enjoy it. But like, if it's on, I'll be like, okay, it's on.
All right, fair enough.
Sure, I can waste like 2 hours watching nothing. That's absolutely whatever at the time.
You work with the public a lot since you work at a cafe. Has a stranger ever made a big impression on your life? Like someone you never met again, you only met once, but they for some reason, even if it's a mundane reason, like made an impression on you somehow that you like never forget.
You know, I like to be a little bit competitive, a little bit like when I'm doing whatever it is I'm doing, I want to be like the best at it, right? When I do my coffee stuff, my coffee videos, or even I just like make little lattes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I make sure that like the best. It's the best. Like again, when we go back to the to being on stream and stuff like that, you want to be good or entertaining or anything like that when it
Right.
comes to literally anything you do, right?
Mm.
And I don't, I'm not like particular stranger, but like I do get new people that come to the store, right? And anything that I make for them, or anything that like the store wise, or anything that I have going on, whether it be the music or just like the overall vibe of the store, or whether their coffee looks really good or something like that, usually makes me feel amazing when they say like, "Oh man, this looks really, really great," or
Yeah.
"Man, the music in here is really cool. What are you playing?"
Mm.
Or "I really love your t-shirt," and we talked for like 10, 15 minutes or so. Maybe not that long, so exaggerating,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it does feel like that long. It could be like I could have like a really, really shit day, and someone be like, "Oh, I love like the design you put in there."
Yeah.
Like that makes me feel really, really great.
Isn't it
And
incredible
like
how
usually
those little
that's
things
like
do that to
what
us?
happened. Yeah, yeah, right. Like like customer service is not the like the best job in the world, and there are a lot of shit people out there. Like you could be like, "Hey, how's it going?" And it's just like, "Can I get this?" And it's like, "Oh, okay, cool. Well, just I won't say hey to you ever again." But
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
like the next person that come in and be like, "Hey, I really like coming here. I really love that you're in here today. Can you do this and this and this?" And that completely will wash anything else away for the rest of the day. And it don't matter if I'm having another person comes in right after that and just has like a shit attitude, or I'll have something that happened at home. That little bit will get me through an entire day. It can be
Yeah.
a stranger or someone that I've talked to all the time.
Yeah, it doesn't take much. I remember when
And
I worked at a cafe. I don't know if you know Samantha B is, but she walked in and I made her a latte, and I was like nervous. And before she left, she looked at me and she took a sip and she went, "Oh, it's a pretty damn good latte," and then like left. And that I will always be in me now.
yeah, that's another story I had like that. I used to work at this shop in Bed-Stuy, and Chidi from the Good Place. I think his name is I can't remember his name, like
Mm.
his actual like regular name.
Yeah.
I think it's William Jackson Harper.
Okay.
Um, he used to frequent there. Like he would come there, I think on Mondays or something like that. And one day, he always gets a sandwich. I made him a latte and things like that. He was like, just a little like, and I was like, oh man, that feels really, really good. But
Yep.
then like when he left, I was like, oh yeah, because he like like when you see him on TV, it's like clean cut this and this and this. He was just like regular, like little scrappy beard and stuff like. But like he looks really familiar. So one like when he was leaving one day, I said, um, you're from the Good Place, and like we're me and my girlfriend at the time was like we're huge fans of the show, and he was like, look, I just do it for you guys. Thanks for the latte, and I'll never, never forget that. And it was rainy Monday morning or something like that. He was like, I appreciate you, do it for you, and I will never ever
That's
forget. That was like
awesome.
3 years ago now.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, this is the last question. Could you give a small piece of life advice, like something very small? Like I'll say, like if you owe someone money, immediately write it down so you don't forget. Something small, but that can like impact your life in some way.
Hmm.
And if you can't, I can ask a different question.
No, if I had some advice for someone, if I had advice to give someone, just something little,
Yeah.
uh, don't do drugs.
Okay. That's fine.
Don't do drugs.
That's fine.
Don't do drugs. You can don't end up on intervention. Just don't be stupid about life. Don't be stupid about life, right?
The
Like
exception
if
being, of
you
course,
wavering on
caffeine.
caffeine, yeah, don't get addicted to drugs. Caffeine is fine long as you have your intake and all this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't do drugs. Don't do drugs. Don't be stupid with your money. Just that's really it. I got
Yeah.
that I
No,
can
that's
think of.
perfect. That's
Don't
perfect.
do
That's
drugs.
perfect. Well, look, thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate your time. Do you want anyone
Yo, I
to
hope to see
follow
you
any of
soon,
your
man.
social medias or anything?
I mean, you're on most of my stuff is on the Instagram, Twitter, Twitch name, Snap name, which I don't really use.
Mhm.
But all of those are gonna be under the same Yoshimitsu. And then a couple of my boys stream, and I'll have their names in my Twitch bio as well. So
Okay.
just follow me on Instagram, really.
Okay.
And
I'll probably put like a notes section as well, and you could just send me your links and shit.